Welcome to the Thomas Take Sports Podcast, Bills post-game show, recap show, whatever you want to call it. You're tuning in live on Facebook and YouTube. I'm calling it the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. I'm Ryan Thomas. Thank you so much for tuning in to tonight's show. Of course, big game to recap, a big win to recap. A win is a win. Any win in the National Football League is a big one. Here we are, the Buffalo Bills, as I'm rocking a Buffalo Sabres, Notre Dame Fighting Irish hoodie during a Buffalo Bills podcast. But hey, I'm cold. I just grabbed something warm to wear during the podcast. It is what it is. Those watching me, looking at me like, where is this Bill stuff? I got the Bill stuff behind me. Not wearing it, but I got it behind me. Anyway, the Buffalo Bills winning today against the Chicago Bears by a score of 35-13. And to me, before I go into the game, I want to remind everybody of just the time that we're living in right now in Western New York, what we're dealing with. Right now we're dealing with one of the worst blizzards in the last, 30, 40 years, since the blizzard of 77. And the fact that I was able to enjoy a Bills football game today was really the highlight of my day. I've done absolutely nothing. Can't leave my house. Thank God my house is warm. Thank God I have power. Thank God I can tune into the Bills' victory today as I slowly was chipping away some snow off of my bathroom window, and my hand, just from doing that, is super dry. Just from doing that. That just shows how cold it is outside. I wanted to take a peek at my car through my window just to take a look and see like how much snow is on my car. I can't even see it. It's completely buried. So Christmas Day is going to be a little weird. I don't know what the forecast is looking like. I should probably take a look at that. I probably will once this podcast is over. But I want to remind you guys to not only check the forecast, but to subscribe, like the Thomas Take Sports Podcast on YouTube and Facebook. Also, you can find me on any and all audio podcasting platforms as I preview the game, as I recap the games each and every week. You guys can tune in and enjoy the show. All things Buffalo Bills, a little bit of Buffalo Sabres discussion. Guess when I can make that happen. So, let's get right to it. As I mentioned, the Buffalo Bills winning this one 35-13. The Bills win and they clinch the AFC East. And along the way, I want to hear from you guys in what the people are saying. That's a big segment on the show that I like to hear what your guys' thoughts are on the game. The guys and gals out there that are tuning in, what are your thoughts on this Buffalo Bills victory? This was a good one, I thought, especially in the second half. First half, not so much. I'm going to dive into that. But winning the AFC East was extremely important. That is goal number one for any team in the National Football League, to win your division. You win your division, you're in the playoffs. Bills clinched the playoffs, clinched their division. We got Cincinnati, we got New England, 2 games left, 12-3. Can we go 14-3, finish the season? That's the record that I predicted for the Buffalo Bills prior to the season starting, and we're inching closer and closer to making that a reality. So, with that being said, let's get to the stat sheet for the Buffalo Bills. And recapping this one, this was a weird game. As I said, first half, one Buffalo Bills team showed up. Second half, another Buffalo Bills team showed up. Josh Allen, 15 of 26 for 172 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Devin Singletary, 12 carries on the ground, 106 yards, 1 rushing touchdown. James Cook as well on the day, over 100 yards on the ground. 11 carries actually for 99 yards, over 100 total yards in the game with 1 rushing touchdown. So for the first time in quite some time, the Buffalo Bills were able to put together 2 rushing efforts of 100 yards or more. Devin Singletary and James Cook doing just that. Gabe Davis, 3 catches, 45 yards. Dawson Knox, 3 catches, 38 yards. Stephon Diggs, only 2 catches for 26 yards on the day. Got to have more results from Stephon Diggs. But Gabe Davis receiving touchdown. Dawson Knox receiving touchdown as the Buffalo Bills were able to pull this one out. Late Dawson Knox garbage time touchdown. Gabe Davis the first touchdown of the game by the Buffalo Bills. And defensively, stat sheet, Tremaine Edmonds leading tackler, Matt Milano a leading tackler, Damar Hamlin playing one of his best games as a Buffalo Bill with 6 tackles of his own. But looking at this game, the Bills' first half was slow and sluggish. And I say slow and sluggish more so on the offensive side of the football. Granted, defensively, the Buffalo Bills did allow an opening touchdown drive, which didn't really happen that often this season, and hasn't happened that often this season, I should say. Hasn't happened as of late. There was a stretch there where the Buffalo Bills defense wasn't allowing an opening drive touchdown, but Justin Fields and company, David Montgomery, they were able to make it happen. That's where I'm like, okay, well, it's 7-0, just allowed a touchdown. We got to respond. We respond with a score of our own. Tyler Bass, tough day to kick out there. Soldier Field, negative 12 degrees at its lowest. At its highest, it was negative 8 upon the game's completion. So the game only went up 4 degrees, and you're still, 8 below zero. Rough day at the office to kick the football. So I can't really blame Tyler Bass for missing that extra point. But what I can say is, in terms of just this opening drive that Chicago was able to put forth an offensive effort, I should say, in the first drive there, proved to me what I was talking about all along in the pregame show, that Justin Fields is a very good quarterback with a lot of talent, with not a lot of talent around him. And a key team that I'm looking at this offseason as far as what they'll do to help Justin Fields and what they'll do to help themselves is the Chicago Bears. What they do, it really depends on a lot of things. Their salary cap is in pretty good hands. They got a lot of guys that they could go out and get, potentially free agents, draft choices, you name it. Justin Fields is probably the one player that I could say needs people around him more than anybody, and he's been able to make a lot out of nothing, really. And he did that in moments in this game, but as the game wore on, despite the fact that the Bills were slow and sluggish in the first half, more so offensively, not really able to find their identity. And honestly, play calling to me in this one, not in the second half, but in the first half, was head-scratching. A lot of throws, a lot of pass attempts in that first half. They dialed it back. They ran the ball more in the second half. And in the first half, I wondered, why are we throwing the ball so much when the wind is a factor? Josh Allen, his hands are cold. He's having a tough time getting his hands warm. They talked about that on the sideline reports. It was just a cold day out there, and I thought, why are they throwing it when the wind is impacting the trajectory of the football? Why are they putting the football in harm's way? Especially when Josh Allen, had some miscues today. Josh Allen was not at his best. There were plenty of moments where I saw guys open, and even on positive yardage plays, Josh Allen found the wrong person to throw the football to. Granted, positive yardage is always good, but more yardage than positive yardage on those plays is better, potentially. Dumping it off to James Cook when he could have thrown it to Stephon Diggs. Throwing it to Gabe Davis when he could have thrown it to Dawson Knox. Throwing it in double coverage to Isaiah McKenzie in the end zone when you have an underneath route in front of you. I believe it was Devin Singletary. You have Stephon Diggs wide open, not getting him the ball. The fact that Diggs only had one target in the first half is really a recipe for disaster for this Buffalo Bills offense. If that were to continue, if in fact Allen's not getting the ball to Stephon Diggs the rest of this season in the first half, then this team won't go anywhere. Stephon Diggs is the life of this offense. Josh Allen is his own life of the offense, but if Allen and Diggs are firing on all cylinders, dare I say it, to one of the best passing duos in the NFL, I don't think that's a hot take. I think that's a legitimate take. Allen needs to get the ball in the playmaker's hands. And the best playmaker that he has is Stephon Diggs. So the miscues were there. They were dialed down because I think Ken Dorsey said, wait a minute, we are running the football effectively. We do have a lead in the second half that we came back and got. And let's run the football. And I think Buffalo's ability to run the ball today, specifically that front five, controlling the line of scrimmage of the Chicago Bears, pushing the Chicago Bears around, the front seven, Chicago's front seven looks like a shell of itself. Gone is Raquan Smith, gone is Khalil Mack. And now you have a front seven that's a little bit susceptible to being bullied, to being pushed around. Buffalo's ability to run the football without was truly my biggest takeaway from the game. And I think long gone are the days of me going on Twitter, at Ryan Thomas Take, verified account, folks, going on Twitter and just reading the responses of my positivity towards Devin Singletary, guy that I've always stuck up for on this show. And yet Bills Mafia trying to kick him while he's up, kick him while he's down. They got no love for Devin Singletary. I don't get it. I think Devin Singletary is extremely underrated due to that and much, much more. And yet the Bills getting him the football. He's making some real clutch runs. He's wearing down the clock. He's finding the yards after contact. And then you have James Cook, who found yards after contact. And then you found Nyheim Hines in the short intermediate passing game. And those three backs, I think, could and should have much more of a role within this offense. I hope that this is the game where that starts to really turn itself around. We start to see that more often. Devin Singletary, we know what he's got. James Cook in the open field, he's hard to stop. He's hard to bring down. Those run blockers paving the way. Roger Saffold paving the way. Deion Dawkins paving the way for James Cook to rattle off some big runs, particularly to the left side. I hope we see more of that. We're going to need more of that to be a well-balanced team heading into the playoffs. We're playing the Cincinnati Bengals next week, and we got to get it done. That game, I believe, is on the 2nd, which would mean that's Monday Night Football, folks. And yeah, I do believe, the short intermediate passing game was there all day long for the Buffalo Bills to take advantage of. Josh Allen, thinking I can throw it in any condition. I don't blame him for thinking that. But there were times where he was forcing it. There were times where he was trying to do too much, driving the football down the field, and it led to mistakes. So the way I see it is this. During this game, the first half, the Bills had plenty of miscues, and they weren't able to really put the points that I wanted to see on the board. But in this sense, I say it like this. The first half, you look around the league and you see Kansas City doing what they do. You see Pat Mahomes doing well. You see the Cincinnati Bengals doing well. And you think, man, if the Bills don't turn this around and they lose this game, maybe the Bills are not a top 2 team in the AFC. Well, I'm happy to say that the second half turned itself around and that the Bills did prove that they are one of the top teams in the AFC. I don't care if it was against a 3-12, now 3-12 Chicago Bears. They handled business in the second half. They dominated the second half. There were moments that made the game close, but it's the NFL. And these teams, whether they're 3-11 or 11-3, Bears got some talent. They got some guys. David Montgomery's a real good back. Justin Fields is a real good quarterback. And Fields was finding a way to get the ball into Montgomery's hands, whether it was via the air or via the ground. And I'm happy to say that the Bills were able to finally say, no, enough is enough. We're going to shut this down. We're going to move on, scrap this one up as a W, and turn our attention to Cincinnati. The only thing that concerns me is that the Cincinnati Bengals are a much, 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 much better team as far as the supporting cast and their quarterback, frankly. Nothing against Justin Fields. I'm a fan, but Joe Burrow is one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League. One of the best. One of the best pure passers, one of the best leaders, one of the best just all around. And the supporting cast that he has, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, these guys are real tough. They're very tough. There's a reason this team was in the Super Bowl last year. That was no fluke. They've won 7 straight games. They've won 7 straight, and they've done it their way. They've got an identity. They stick to it. They don't try to do anything too fancy. They just play their game. And that's a very dangerous opponent. I expected the Bills' score to be 35 and the Chicago Bears 13. How we got there, however, was not how I expected to see it. I expected to see total domination for 4 quarters. That doesn't always happen. First half, close first half. We had the 14-10 lead, and then from there on, it was our game. There are moments where we kept the Bears in the game, and those are moments that cannot happen against Cincinnati, against Kansas City, against any of the teams that are within the AFC playoff bracket. Can't see it. Can't have that happen because any of these teams can put up points. The Chicago Bears can't put up points. They don't have the supporting cast to put up points in the way that those teams do. So I just say that because what did we learn? We learn even in victory. We definitely learn in defeat. What did we learn in victory? We learned that the Buffalo Bills have some work to do. They got some extra rest. I know, obviously, the Buffalo airport is closed due to the blizzard of 2022. And it'll be a little bit before the Bills can actually get back into town. So what challenges will that pose? We'll hear more about that, obviously, in the next day. Christmas, these guys are probably not going to be spending time with their families, which really sucks. I don't think anybody is around here. You wait all year for Christmas just for Mother Nature to say, nope, not this year. Well, maybe. Try to be positive. But the Bills' defense is coming on strong as this 2022 blizzard. I am really loving what I am seeing from this Buffalo Bills defense. And it's without 2 key pieces. Micah Hyde and Von Miller, and the Bills' defense is getting it done. I thought Trey White looked phenomenal today. I thought the Bills' front 4 controlled the line of scrimmage. The Bills' starting 5 controlled the line of scrimmage on the offensive side. And then the Bills' defense really neutralized Justin Fields, and he is a dangerous, dangerous athlete. This guy is going to get better. The Bears got a good quarterback. I believe that. Question is, will they support him with the right supporting cast? Will they spend money to make the team better? Those are questions that aren't really up to Justin Fields, unfortunately. So we're able to neutralize him. We're able to shut him down. David Montgomery, we weren't giving him the sideline. We weren't giving him opportunities to get yards after catch. He was working pretty well originally up the middle, but we shored that up. I thought the defense today really bailed out a lot of Allen's miscues that, I'll make this point again, if Allen made these same miscues against a Kansas City, a Cincinnati, that takes you right out of the game if your defense can't then stop the opposition from scoring points off of turnovers. We were able to stop the Bears from scoring points off of turnovers and limiting their opportunities at scoring points off of turnovers. Very happy about that. Ismail Valentin said, defense is solid. I'm concerned with deciding not to run the ball in the first half. And I am too. I like the profile picture. I am as well. I talked about Buffalo's ability to run the ball. They've got it. I don't know what it is that makes them think that they don't have the guys to move the football via the run game. They've got them. Devin Singletary, James Cook, these guys are fine. There's nothing wrong with these 2 players. These guys can get it done. It's just a matter of giving them the touches and using these guys the right way, using these guys in a way that highlights their skill set. You're not going to put James Cook up the middle on 3rd and 1. You're not going to do that. You can do a halfback delay after a big passing play, and you can see what happens. Josh Allen fires a big pass to Dawson Knox. They run a halfback delay where Josh Allen drops back. James Cook is to his right. He hands him the ball, and there is green grass in front of James Cook because the defense thinks that Buffalo is yet again passing when they're not. I thought in the long toss plays, the sweeps, the tosses, the stretch runs, I thought James Cook looked really, really good. I thought Devin Singletary on counters looked really, really good. It's not just running the football. It's what type of plays are you going to put forth? You're going to put halfback dives? Are you going to do draws? Are you going to do counters? Are you going to do tosses? Those are the things that not many people discuss. It's, we need to run the football. Well, yeah, we need to run the football, but how do we need to run the football? And who needs to be out there to block for these guys? Not just the starting five. What wide receivers need to be out there? Who are the best run-blocking wide receivers on this team? I'll tell you, a guy that jumped out at me today in terms of his run blocking was Bills rookie wide receiver Khalil Shakir. I thought he made some really nice blocks today that I don't know if the All-22 on NFL Network is going to talk about it. I don't know if, the analytics shows are out there going to talk about it, but I thought that Khalil Shakir made some nice blocks today. Quentin Morris made some nice blocks today. I thought that really the right people needed to be out there, and they were out there for the Bills in the run department. It's going to be very interesting to see how this run offense evolves these next few weeks as we inch closer and closer to the playoffs, and how it evolves even in 2023 and beyond. I really need to see this Buffalo Bills offense show more than just Allen and Diggs. Knox is getting more work. Gabe Davis made some nice plays today. Hopefully that can continue, but I really need to see more from these guys in terms of that. There was a moment too in the game where I went, I was on Twitter and I'm talking to a Bills fan, and Nyheim Hines is not fair catching it. He's letting the ball drop. He's worried about fumbling, muffing a punt, and to me, you got to catch those. You gotta try to catch them. You can't let those windy conditions push a football back. And then we're on the opposite side of it, where our punt team is out there. Sam Martin punts a beauty. The wind rolls it to the 4, but they blow the whistle and call the play dead at the 10 or the 11. And then we go to commercial break. We come back. The Bears are getting the ball at the 11. But the refs didn't allow the ball to finish rolling before they blew the whistle. They blow the whistle and the ball's still rolling. There's 3 guys around the ball waiting for the ball to stop rolling. Stops rolling at the 4, and the Bills didn't get the call on that. That was odd to me. I don't know if you guys have ever seen anything like that. I've never seen anything like that, but that was weird. Another thing that I would say about this game that really jumped out at me that I really enjoyed was just the coaching effort from Sean McDermott. There was a key 4th down stop that was made by Trey White. He tackled the receiver. I can't remember the name of the guy. I don't know if it was Cole Kmet or maybe it was somebody else, but Cole Kmet, decent tight end too. I like him a lot. I like some of these guys on the Bears offense that they have, and I'll just throw that out there. But Trey White stops the intended receiver, and the guy's knee goes down. Then he stretches out for the first down. And Sean McDermott says, I'll challenge it, as far as whether he had the first down, the spot of the football they're challenging. I thought that was brilliant. And that was ballsy for a coach to do. Most coaches don't do stuff like that, but Sean McDermott said, hold my beer, I'm doing it. So a 35-13 victory for the Buffalo Bills. We moved to 12-3. We've won 6 straight weeks. We've clinched the AFC East for the 3rd straight year, which brings me to my last talking point on the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. The Buffalo Bills are AFC East champs once again, and I want to know, where are the Dolphins fans that were calling for the Dolphins to be the AFC East champions? Where are the New York Jets fans that were calling for the Jets to be AFC East champions? Where are the New England Patriots fans that were calling for the return of the Patriots and, all the holier-than-thou Bill Belichick and Mac Jones is going to bounce back and all that? I don't see them anywhere. They're lost. They're not around. Those fans disappeared. There's Dolphins podcasts out there that I went toe-to-toe with on Twitter. They're putting out bets at plus 1,600, betting $100 that the Dolphins will win the division. Your money wasn't well spent. You should have left it in the wallet. Big mistake. Thanks for tuning in. The Bills, AFC East champs. We got the Cincinnati Bengals next Monday. Looking forward to it. Primetime Monday Night Football. We've never seen Allen and Burrow go against each other. I think it's going to be a real good game. Classic game that we could potentially see a rematch of in the playoffs. God willing, we don't have to worry about the Chiefs. I don't want to play the Chiefs again. Just bad vibes. I just don't want to do it. Alrighty, thanks so much for tuning in, Bills Mafia. Last and certainly not least, Merry Christmas.